What is up, you guys? This is Dom with you today. Hope you're doing fantastic. Just doing a nightly drive and just getting me and my wife some dinner. And today marks, well, not today, but on the 12th of March will mark 6 months that we've been married. And wow, 6 months. I'm really excited about the next 55 or 60 years of where this marriage will go. Now, the reason I say that is because I find that when a marriage is good, it lasts long. Sorry, I'm just clearing my throat. But I wanted to talk to you, men especially, about what to expect in marriage. Because let's face it, marriage is great. It's easy to get married, but staying married is the big thing. It's the big challenge. And here are some things that you have to know. Here are just things that I've learned over these 6 months of being married. The first step, never lie to your wife. Or never lie to your husband, for that matter. Never lie to your spouse. Because doing that, it doesn't build trust. It severs trust. Now, I've lied to my wife several times on occasion. I've made that mistake. But they were just small lies. But that's the thing, though. A big lie can turn into a little lie. And that's the best thing. But thankfully, when I have made that mistake, I come to my wife about it and says, honey, I lied to you. I am afraid to do that sometimes, but you have to do that in a relationship. You have to do that in a marriage. Because marriage cannot be built on just, physical intimacy and trust alone. It's built on a lot of things. It's built on a relationship with God. It's built on the commitment to stick together. And it's built on trust. You have to trust each other. Because if you don't trust each other, then you can't live together and you can't love one another. That's the thing, though. Second thing that I've learned, you will never always get sex. Men, this is a big thing because you never will always get sex. Because normally, our sex drives are higher than women's. It's just a fact. I mean, when I got married, the first thing I was like, oh, sex, yes, I want to have sex. Lots and lots of it. But the reality is, it's not going to happen all the time. So be prepared for disappointment. Because let's say, before you got married, you probably slept around and didn't care about what everybody else thought. But the thing is, though, when you're married to somebody and sex is a big thing now, you're with somebody for life and then you can have sex with them. It's great and all, but you just have to remember that you won't get it frequently. It's just going to be a frustrating experience for you if your wife turns you down for sex. And also, this applies for also a lot of virgins that I am speaking to right now. Virgins, especially me, I was a virgin before I met my wife. You will not get sex all the time. You are going to be disappointed as well. Just making a stop here because I want to make sure that I'm safe while doing this because I encourage safe driving most of the time. But virgins, let me tell you this. It won't happen all the time. If you and your wife are virgins, then it may happen, but for the most part, not all the time. Just be ready for people, or be ready for your spouse when he or she says no. I mean, in some cases, women may have higher sex drives than men. I don't know. But for the most part, it's the woman that usually tends to say no. And the man usually has a high sex drive. Because if men don't feel that validation and their spouse turns them down, they feel like they're not needed. But also, it's a similar scenario at the same time. The wife or your spouse may not feel attractive, or they're turning you down because they probably have self-esteem issues, or they're on their period or something like that. I learned about that a lot because when they're on their period, don't touch them, men. Don't touch them. Don't even go near them lest you fear for your balls. So let me just say that to you. And there's just going to be times when it'll be hard. Not you will be, well, you will be hard most of the time, men. I'm just saying, pun intended. But it will be difficult when your wife turns you down for sex, when you really, really want it. Because we men are very visual creatures. We like something that we see and then we act upon it. I thankfully was a virgin before I met my wife, and looking at my wife now, I still get hard whenever I see her, and I also get attracted to her because she's an attractive woman. I love my wife because of her beauty and her brains and everything else, because she is a person. You have to see your wife or your spouse as a person instead of a sex object. That's what I've also learned, and I'm learning to restrain myself every time and just let it happen. And I want my wife to feel comfortable when we both initiate, so I try not to prod. I try not to beg, because begging doesn't really help. It doesn't do anything at all. Now, the third thing, it's not 50-50. You have to do your part and share the load. Share the housework. Share time together. Share everything. Because if you keep things separated and apart, then it just won't work. I mean, the finances, that's a big thing. That's my next rule. Finances. Never argue about money. I mean, you can talk about it. You can just say what your plans are, like make a savings and all that, but never argue about it. Because let's say you have separate accounts and you have things to spend on. Set aside $100 or so on something that you want. And that is your money to use. Don't use all the money that you've earned in your paycheck. Just set aside a couple $100, and that is what you use for the stuff that you want. And vice versa. I mean, if you want to spend something that you want, just save for it. You don't have to get it right away. You can just wait for it. Like, I bought a set of new glasses for $200. I used all my savings for that, and that was what I needed. I wanted a new camera, but I didn't need the new camera, so I just left the money there and used it for my new glasses. Oh, by the way, my new glasses aren't in yet, so these are the same ones. But if you want something, just save money for it. I mean, it's not going to go away. So men and women, definitely consider saving money. And my final tip before I go, love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not keep a record of wrongs. Love does not boast. And love conquers everything. If you truly love your spouse, you will sacrifice a lot. Heck, you may even sacrifice your lifestyle changes for your spouse. So, those are just some things that I learned in my marriage. I mean, I know it's only been 6 months. Not like for some people, they've been married for 50 or 60 years. They made it work, and I'm going to make it work too in my marriage. So yeah, just to recap, been married 6 months now, and it's great. And remember, you won't get sex all the time. Don't argue about finances. Love your spouse. And always, always, always go to rule number 1. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will be posting more as I go along. Every year that I'm married, I'll give you an update, because I feel that keeping an account of all this will help. So yeah, better get dinner from my wife before she wonders what I'm doing. So have a great week, you guys and gals. Lots of love. Bye-bye.